please do not throw stones at me for this. I want to uplift queer authors and queer stories, but I also have to be an honest reviewer, and sometimes that's a very tough balance, okay? Hello lovely readers and queers, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I am Franny, and today I have to take care of the very unfortunate business of talking about a book that I was highly anticipating, that I really wanted to love, but that I ended up finding just okay. And that's okay, but it's also very upsetting because I really wanted to love it, and so I just want to unpack all of those feelings and criticism, and I just want to explain myself. One of my unmentioned resolutions for 2024 was to try and film some book reviews as well, apart from wrap-ups, at least for the books that I was highly anticipating, or queer books that I want to talk about and, you know, make known to people, and also for books that I was approved for an arc that I didn't get to before the release date. And I feel like the least I can do is kind of give a bigger spotlight to that book on my channel, and that's what I'm here for today. I have to start somewhere, and fortunately or unfortunately, OK Cupid by Mason Deaver is going to be the first book of the bunch. I need to say right off the bat that this book was okay. Since I will be spending a lot more time on the negatives, I do not want that to overshadow the fact that this is a perfectly okay book. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. The great thing with Mason Deaver's books is that they are all very easily readable, very bingeable. You will find yourself thinking about the stories, thinking about the characters, even when you're not reading the book. And that is a very undervalued skill to have when you are writing a book that honestly deserves so much more credit than it actually gets. And you will find yourself caring for the characters and rooting for them and wanting to know how their story continues and ends. And again, that's a very important component of a good book, a book that you will love reading. And it should go without saying, but I am going to say it anyway because it is extremely important. We need more of these books. We do not have enough queer books out there, okay? We do not have enough good queer books with good queer representation, particularly trans, agender, and non-binary representations. These books are incredibly important, particularly for young readers, and no, we do not have enough of them. We need more of them, and this book does a great job with queer representation and trans representation. And if you asked me, would you recommend this book to someone? Even with all its flaws, even with its shortcomings, even considering that I do not think it is one of Mason Deaver's best books, yes, I would 100% recommend it. So please keep that in mind as we go further into the review, into my thoughts, and into the reasons why I did not like this book as much and why personally, it was a bit of a disappointment. Our main character is Jude. They are an agender teenager, Cupid, who is currently on probation because a few months earlier they kissed a human boy, and they were not supposed to do that. That's a big no-no in the Cupid's community, because when you kiss a human, they forget everything about you, and you have to take some classes, and then on your next mission you'll be under very close scrutiny because you have to prove to the Cupid's bosses or whatever that you have learned from your mistakes and it's not gonna happen again. And Jude's next assignment is a Vietnamese trans boy called Hui and his ex-best friend who had a crush on him, Alice. These two are not currently on speaking terms, so Jude has to infiltrate the high school, befriend them, and try to bring them back together. However, the more time they spend with Hui, the more they find this boy very cute and sweet and kind, and they just want to spend more time with him, and they are dreading the moment that the mission will be over and Hui and Alice will be back together, because that's what they are supposed to do. The first thing that was a huge issue for me was the thing that was supposed to make this book unique, and that is the Cupid component. The author decided to introduce a magical slash supernatural element component to the book, which is a very interesting thing to do, but somehow forgot or neglected to give us any information whatsoever. There's no world building or explanation as to where the Cupids come from. Are they angels? Are they gods? Are they magical human beings? Are they born from humans and then taken away from them? Are they born from other Cupids? Where do they get the assignments from? Who decides what Cupid gets assigned to whom? What are the criteria? Because at the beginning of the book, Jude was assigned to two co-workers who worked in an office, so I am guessing they were adults. And was Jude the right person, the right Cupid for that? Because they are a teenager. So do they know how to make two adults fall in love? Who decided that Cupids cannot fall in love with humans? What sort of magic is that? What sort of rule? Who decided it? Like, give me something. Also, they think that they are better than humans, so I am guessing that they are not humans. However, they sleep, they eat, they walk, they do not have any supernatural magical abilities such as the ability to fly or become invisible or whatever. So in what way are they different from humans? They also do other human things such as paying for food and for rent. Jude is living in an apartment with their handler and they are paying rent. How does it work? Is there a bank in heaven that they use to finance their activities on earth, since their job is basically to help humans fall in love? You have to give the reader information to make it believable, because otherwise, if you introduce something new, if you introduce something that is not already known to the reader will have questions, and the more you mention a few things here and there but do not quite explain or expand on it, the more the reader will have questions that will go unanswered, and it'll be frustrating as hell. You're not just writing a young adult contemporary novel here, you decided to add something new to it. But if you want to do it properly, if you want to keep up the pretense that is actually believable, if you want the suspense of disbelief, then you have to make it realistic. You have to make it believable for your reader. You have to provide further information, further details to actually make it believable and make the reader think, okay, I can roll with that, it makes sense, let's keep going with the story. And unfortunately, that is not what happened in this book, and it really frustrated me because it was interesting and I had questions and I really wished I had gotten answers to those questions. The second thing that really annoyed me is something that unfortunately yet understandably you often find in young adult books. However, it should not have been here, and I will tell you why, but that is the cluelessness, the complete blindness to their love interest in them. Now the synopsis reads, and I quote here, "As a Cupid, Jude thinks they understand love a little bit more than the average human. It makes sense. Jude's been studying love their whole teen life." And that makes sense, right? Because they're a Cupid, so they have to know about love. They have to be an expert in love. But of course, Jude is completely blind to the fact that Huey is so clearly developing a crush for him, and he is not into Alice like that at all, because he can only think about Jude, and it is so pathetically clear that anyone else could see it, that humans, for God's sake, could see it, and not Jude, the Cupid, who is supposed to be an expert on love and human love, because that's literally their job. And to that we can add the oh so lovely YA trope that the main character will just give up their whole life and everything they know for someone they just met, because they think, nay, they know for sure that they're in love with that person even if they've known them for a few weeks, and they will spend the rest of their lives together, and screw all the rest, I will give everything up for that person. That's just not how it works. And again, if you're an expert on love, you should know, but whatever. That's just something that we cannot seem to be able to get rid of in YA books, and I've accepted it, you know, in most cases. I get it. That's the teen love, the teen angst, all of that. But again, they are a Cupid. It should not, it really doesn't make sense for this particular trope to be in this book. Should not be there. Please, Please, okay, let's try and do better. And the last thing that sealed this Mason Deaver's book is not really for me deal is the ending. I was not happy with the ending. In a way, it is coherent with literally the only Cupid rule that we are given, so in a way it makes sense, but on the other hand it opened the door to so many other questions that of course went unanswered, and there was a sort of deus ex machina twist resolution that further compromised the believability of the story. I remember I was listening to the audiobook while I was running, and at one point while I was listening to the epilogue or the last chapter or whatever, I just stopped dead in my tracks and I was like, what the heck am I listening to right now? What's happening here? Are you really going down this road? Like, you cannot do this to me, honestly. It just, I was so pissed. I was so pissed, it made no sense, and I had so many questions, and I will never get an answer to these questions because that was it. Good lord. Anyways, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just harboring a lot of frustration that this book elicited in me, and I am not quite happy with that. But at the same time, as I've said, please do not mistake my criticism for a negative review, because that is not it. My disappointment comes from the fact that if I have already uploaded and if you have watched my top books of 2023, you will have seen The Feeling of Falling in Love by Mason Deaver on that list. I loved that book so much. There is a reason why it was on my top 10 of 2023. It was that great. It was such an incredible, beautiful, powerful book. I loved it, and I think Mason Deaver as an author can do so much. They have so much great potential, and considering that potential, I feel like this book could have been so much more. It had great queer representation, great friendship dynamics. It was a great love story. It had so many good things going for it. I truly believe it could have been so much more, and it wasn't up to the standards that Mason Deaver can reach as an author. At least that's my very personal opinion, and I know that the author can do so much more because they did with The Feeling of Falling in Love. So it was just a big disappointment because of that, but I did like it. It is a great book. We need more books like this, and I will for sure keep reading all the books that Mason Deaver writes. I know that they can do great things, and I'll be there for when that happens. In the end, I gave OK Cupid by Mason Deaver 3 stars. I liked it, but I have to deal with the fact that yes, it was a disappointment for me, but I do 100% recommend it, and I do recommend you go and listen to the audiobook because it is narrated by Max Meyers, and he did such a great job, such a perfect voice for Jude, and I loved listening to the audiobook. That was honestly one of the best part of the reading experience of this book. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. OK Cupid by Mason Deaver came out on January 2nd of this year. Let me know if you have read it, if you would like to. If you did read it, what were your thoughts? Have you read anything else by Mason Deaver? Let me know in the comments down below so we can chat about it in the comments, because I would love to exchange thoughts and opinions with someone who has read the book or would want to read the book. Let me know what you think and we can chat about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you very soon in my next one, but until then, have a good one, take care, and keep reading queer books. Warm hugs. Bye.